Well, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Unmasked podcast.
It's spooky time.
Spooky, spooky. Hey, Halloween episode, baby,
That's right. That's right.
or
Tis,
or uh, or Reformation Day.
yeah, or
Yeah,
that. Or or harvest season. Have your harvest
that's right.
parties,
Yeah,
you
we don't.
know, fall
We
festival
allowed to talk
time.
about Halloween as pastors? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should dive into that.
Dude, so my brother, my nephew, was born on Halloween, or was born on October 31st. And anytime say that he was born on Halloween, my brother corrects me and says, no, he was born on Reformation Day.
Reformation Day.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Halloween.
Or Halloween.
Halloween.
Oh, shit.
Before we jump in, we might as well introduce who we are, though, too, right? So
Yeah,
the new listeners may not know.
that's
So
right.
this is the Unmasked podcast, episode 11. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Driscoll, alongside the always incredible, the always entertaining, the always incredibly looking Spencer Robinette. Trigger the
I
applause
receive it.
button.
I'll receive
There it
it.
goes. There it goes, man.
That's right.
So hey, man, it is Halloween, and we're gonna get into that in a minute. But a couple things before we get to that, bro. We got to connect a couple days ago.
That's right. I know,
Yes,
dude.
bro. We got
Have
Saturday.
breakfast with the wifeys and
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah, it was good stuff, man. At La Peep.
Yep.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah,
La
La
Peep.
Peep in kind of like Loveland, Mason area,
Area ish. We
Cincinnati.
were we were on our way to Kings Island,
That's right.
and
On a
there was
on a real rainy Saturday.
it was well for the morning. It was
Did it get
it
better?
cleared up. Yeah, the park opened at 11, and I think it stopped raining at like 11:30.
Yeah.
So it worked out. We just didn't play our cards completely right. We got there like right at 11:15. By the time we got into the first ride, the rain had stopped, and there wasn't very as many people there. So we're like, oh, let's go hit Banshee. Because side note, I went with my family and my brother and sister in law and their two kiddos. They're like 9 and 6, and the 9-year-old, it was his birthday, so that's where he wanted to go with us to Kings Island for his birthday, and he just started riding roller coasters. And funny enough, so did my kids who are 16 and 13. They've been forever terrified of roller coasters, probably because I put them, made them ride like the Tower of Terror when they were like 3 and 6, and probably a bad parenting move, but they all love riding them now. So it was awesome. So we went straight to Banshee. That's what they wanted to ride first. We walked straight on, no line. And then we rode Delirium. I don't know if you're,
Mhm.
people that know Kings Island, maybe you don't. We're going to talk about it as if you do. Banshee is a big suspended roller coaster that's incredible and goes like upside down like 7 or 8 times. Delirium's like a flat ride that spins around and goes really high. And then my niece that's like 6, she doesn't ride any of those things. So she wanted to go to the kiddie park. And
Right.
we'd already ridden like 2 or 3 rides. And we're like, all right, let's walk all the way over to the other side of the park. And so we did that, let her ride some rides, and then like, all right, let's jump back and just ride some rides. And at that point, it was packed and everything was like an hour and
Oh,
15-minute wait time. So
man.
anyways, it was a great day. We left around like, I don't know, like 9:45, 10 o'clock because the rain was getting ready to start back up. So but it was a great time.
Did y'all drive
But
straight back to Louisville?
not as good as hanging out with you guys. So,
That's right, dude.
yeah, we drove straight home. It was pouring until we got like, I don't know, about 20 minutes into Kentucky, and then it settled. So the first 40 minutes of the drive home was pretty not fun.
Yeah. Dude,
But we made it.
I hate driving in like just a torrential downpour.
Oh, it's terrible, especially at night.
Yeah, dude, it's awful.
So, anyways, but yeah, no, it was a great
I will
time. It
say
was good to get to hang out.
it was. I will say the most disappointing part of that breakfast was both your wife and my wife admitted that neither of them had listened to the podcast yet.
I'm saying, bro, like
So little
what is happening?
I mean, their excuse was that they hear us talk all day, every day, and they didn't care to listen to it in this. But then you made a great point. It's like,
I know,
Jen doesn't listen to me talk all day every
right?
day, and Katie doesn't listen to you talk all day every day. You'd
Not
think
at
that they
all.
could get something out of this.
You think, but I think they're like, yeah, listening to Andy's probably too much like listening to Spencer, just with a different voice, and vice versa. So it's like we're good.
And the fact that you and I are roasting our wives right now just proves the fact that we know they're still not going to be listening
They're not going to listen.
to
They are not going to listen.
this.
They are too focused and driven in their careers
That's
where
right.
they run 150 miles an hour at their jobs, and they both were talking about how their downtime and relaxation time is reading books.
Yep.
And so
You know what? I'm
our
okay with that.
podcast is not going to pique their interest,
You know what?
probably.
And I'm okay with that because that means I can eat at night and I can play some video games if I want to because
I'm saying I'm here for it.
dude, we got to move on.
I
We
mean,
got to move on
anyways,
from this.
anyways,
We got to move
got to
on.
give our quick nod just because it's football season. The Bengals looked phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal yesterday as they destroyed the 49ers.
31-17, baby.
Amazing. Joe
Yeah.
Shiesty
Was he
was back.
28 for 31 or something? 28 for 32, something like
28 for 32, I believe it
that.
was.
Unbelievable.
Like 289 passing yards, somewhere around in there.
He crushed
On
it.
point, dude. He looked phenomenal. He had several great rushes. And I think the thing that I got the most excited about, and our receivers made some phenomenal catches. Our defense was on point and monsters like always. But the thing that got me the most excited was after every time Burrow had a huge run, he got up and was jacked. Dude, he was pumped, like slapping his helmet, like doing a first down signal. Like he was Joe Cool to the max.
That's right.
It was exciting.
It was so exciting.
So
It was a fun one to watch.
Bengals are back. I also got to make a nod. The University of Louisville came out of their bye week on fire. They were ranked number 18, playing number 20 Duke, and shut them out 28-0. I think it was 28-0.
Something like that. It's awesome.
Chef's kiss. Great couple of days of football for Andy Driscoll. So I'll take it.
Let's go.
So, and then FC
That's
Cincy
right. Yeah, I was at that game Sunday night. Yeah,
got a dub.
first tournament game. They won
Love it.
3-0. Yeah, it was great.
Strong.
Couple strong goals, and yeah, man, it was good. Good night. It was great.
Love it.
Playoffs.
Good stuff, man. All right. Well,
we're gonna switch things up a little bit today.
Yeah.
Although let's before we dive into the way we're gonna switch things up some is we felt like on this special Halloween episode, Reformation Day episode, October 31st episode.
This episode is going to be titled like Halloween or Reformation Day.
Here we go.
Decide.
You decide. Yeah. We're gonna do just a handful of reaction videos. We've gotten some good response on some of our mass reaction moments, and so we felt like let's just have some fun today and just do a handful of reaction videos. Dude, there's some wild stuff on the internet.
Yeah. There is
excited.
The thing that we've struggled with these reaction videos is we find so many good ones, and we're like, I don't know that we can play that.
I know, dude.
I don't know that we can play that
one.
We're about pushing the limits a little bit, but we do have a line.
One of them today is going to
somewhat.
One of them today is going to come close to the line, but
I'll admit I'm like Spencer has seen it because I had to run it by him before. It was the one that I found, and then I'm like, dude, this is hilarious. Every time I watch it, I die laughing. But I'm like, it's pushing the envelope a little bit, so I needed to get full creative approval from the entire team. Yeah. So I sent it to the entire team, which means I sent it to Spencer.
That's right.
And so there we go. So, but before we jump into our videos, Halloween.
Yeah.
It is highly debated amongst some Christians, and whether or not you can celebrate it, participate in it. Is it evil and demonic? Is it opening up gateways into your home and into your family if you do, for demonic activity and spiritual warfare? You grew up as a PK, the preacher's kid.
Yeah.
And so you grew up in the 90s then, correct?
Yep.
So I'm curious, like what is been your experience with the church and Halloween, and what is your views on it currently today?
So yeah. So growing up, like when I was a kid, probably through middle school, maybe, um, at least all the way through elementary school. Uh, our parents actually like took us trick or treating. We would dress up and go trick or treating for Halloween. So I mean, it was celebrated. We would go to like Halloween parties and stuff where like some neighbors. I lived on like a cul-de-sac growing up, and so some families that had kids roughly the same age, would all get together at one house, and the parents would kind of have a little party while the kids would go out and trick or treat and stuff.
Right.
So it was definitely like it was definitely, I mean, I don't know if celebrated is the right word, but it was, I mean, we
I,
did it. We
I mean, you just kind of described a celebration.
Okay, we celebrated it. It was
I would say that's
celebrated.
celebrating.
It was celebrated in the Robinette household for sure then. So, but then my dad being a pastor, like you said, what happened at church though was harvest parties.
Right.
So, and more often than not, at least just the way our church did it growing up, my dad's church was like the harvest party was on like the Sunday evening, either right before or right after Halloween, depending on what day Halloween fell on.
Right.
So we would traditionally we would celebrate Halloween on Halloween, go trick or treating or whatever. And then the harvest party would be at church would be on, that Sunday or the weekend before or after.
Right.
So we did both.
Yeah.
Um,
Did your church do trunk or treat?
our church didn't.
Okay. Okay.
The first church that I pastored at a college, we did a trunk or treat, and that was actually my very first experience with a trunk or treat
Yeah.
ever, and that was 10 years ago, something like that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so and my views now, man. Well, did you, before I get into my views, did you celebrate it? What was
Sure.
your experience?
Yeah, I mean, my experience with everything was wild because the church that I grew up in, I mean, it was, like I said, we had harvest parties for school because I went to a Christian school, and so during the in October, we would have probably the week of Halloween or leading up to it, we'd have in elementary, we'd have harvest parties,
Right.
and so half the day would be a party. We'd have snacks, cupcakes, and we all dressed up
Right.
in costumes, but we couldn't say Halloween. We
Right.
couldn't be anything scary or evil. It had to be fun
Right.
stuff. And so we celebrated it that way. The church never made a nod to it at all. We never did any parties, harvest parties as a church, even though the school and church were connected. The school did that, but the church didn't do anything.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I think we talked about this in an episode before, but eventually they switched over from a harvest party to, well, they kept it called a harvest party, but we could no longer dress up in anything we wanted. I think I was probably in, I don't know, fifth grade maybe, and they switched it over to where we could only dress up as either a pilgrim or an Indian.
Dude, I
So
forgot about that. I
yeah,
forgot about
yeah. So
that.
they switched it up to that,
That's
and
so wild.
so that was all we could do, and
Oh my
I would have
gosh.
said, to be more politically correct, to said Pilgrim or Native American, but
That's not what was.
that's not what it was.
No,
It
back
was
then.
the worst type of stereotypical Indian. Like, I
That's
mean, yeah. So we'll leave it at that. Um,
right.
but in my household, man, we
Oh,
celebrated
that's so
Halloween. We
wild.
decorated. My parents had Halloween parties. I mean, we
Yeah.
decorated with all the scary stuff outside, and
Yeah.
we did it up that way. And I went trick or treating every year, and so I got to about, I don't know, middle school, high school, and then it
Yeah. Same.
was, I would take my flannel that I had all cut up with fake blood all over it, and my Jason mask with blood all over it, and sit on the porch as still as I could with gloves on, holding the bowl. And then little kids would come up to get candy out of it, and I would jump and scare them. Yeah, I was that guy. So, and then they would run, and then my buddy would be in like a pile of leaves behind them, jump out and scare a bunch of little kids. We were a nightmare in more ways than one. So,
See, for me, um, I was never, and I'm still not like scary movies and those types of things. I don't enjoy being scared for the sake of being
okay.
scared. So
Did you ever go to haunted houses like when you
I
were in
hate
high
them.
school?
Dude, I can't stand them. I did,
Really?
but yeah, and it's
Did you
not like, and it's
did
not
you
because
go
I'm
because a
against
girl wanted you to go with her?
you. Oh, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And it's not, and again, it's for me, like, I'll get in my views here in a second, but it's not like
Sure,
I'm against it. It's more of, I just hate, I hate being scared.
gotcha.
Like if I,
You don't like that feeling.
no, I
Yeah,
don't
you
like
don't.
that
You
feeling,
don't.
dude. I'm 31 years old, and I will fully admit, if we're depending on how scary the movie is, I got a blanket over my head. Like, and I'm peeping with an eye to see what's going on, man. Like, it's rough. It's real rough.
Yeah, that's funny.
But um, but I feel like, so I brought that up because I lost my train of thought. I brought that up because I wasn't that, like, when I was trick or treating, I was a football player, or
Right.
like Han Solo, or I don't even remember
Nothing.
what all I dressed
Nothing
up as.
scary.
Nothing like super scary.
Yeah.
And I don't yeah, I just don't get into that stuff. But it's, that's okay. But I don't, so as far as my views go, like, I think Halloween, you can approach, like for the Christians that are fully against it because they think it's demonic, they think you're inviting evil spirits, or just like the environment of uh satanic whatever. Like,
Right.
I think it's like anything where there's probably a certain level to which you can just enjoy it for what it, like,
Yeah.
just enjoy it for what it is, but don't take it too far. Like, if you feel like you're mentally heading like towards like that space where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like where you like your soul's opened itself up to receive some of like the evil side
Yeah.
of what's sometimes expressed during Halloween, then shut it down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
So more of your motives in
yeah,
in your approach to it.
yeah. But
Yeah.
as far as like just totally cutting it out, I don't think that that's necessary. It
Right.
might be for some. Again, it might
Sure.
be for some. But as a whole and generally, I don't think it's necessary. My
Yeah.
wife, for example, loves Halloween, and so we go hard every year. And like right now, our ceiling has. Have you seen on Instagram the At least this is where we got the inspiration for it. Like, people will put like cardboard or something on their ceiling, and then they'll glue um light strips and like um what's it called, fluff, to it, and they'll light it up, and then
Fluff.
fluff. Dang it, dude, this is terrible. I wish I could.
Like cotton,
Yeah, like cotton, but like big fluff.
pillow stuffing kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
spread out,
exactly.
make it thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can turn the lights on, and it looks like you've got like an eerie looking sky like
Clouds and
inside your
stuff.
house. Yeah. So we got that up right now because we had a Harry Potter watch
Oh
party.
yeah, y'all were talking about that when we went to breakfast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we ended
Yeah.
up doing that, and we
Did the
had
spray glue work?
part. It did. Yeah, it was perfect.
Nice. Nice.
So, but you know what I mean. But Harry Potter, that's another
Yeah,
Harry Potter, for example. So how many?
bro.
I wasn't. Now we
Yep.
celebrated Halloween, but I was not allowed to read Harry Potter growing up.
Okay. Okay.
And so that, like, my parents did draw a line at some
Yeah.
point, but now it's
I
like, now that
I
I'm
didn't
older,
watch Harry Potter until I was out on my own. And it wasn't necessarily because like the church and school that I grew up in that my family went to was super hyper religious,
yeah,
conservative, legalistic about everything.
yeah,
But in our home, we didn't operate that way.
yeah,
It completely.
yeah,
And so but for whatever reason, like the Harry Potter thing, it was still pretty fresh when I was in high school. So it was still kind of like, is this a kiddie thing or whatever? And I don't read books, so I was waiting for the movies anyways.
right,
But yeah, no, they were all against it.
yeah.
But they
But
were
again,
also against, depending on how old you are and watching this, the Smurfs. Were the Smurfs
that's right.
even
Yeah,
relevant when you were a kid?
yeah,
But
absolutely.
like my school, I used to love the Smurfs when I was a little kid. And Kings Island actually had a Smurf ride. A long time ago. But I
Dude, it's
love the
crazy.
Smurfs.
It's
But
like,
the school and the church was like, you got to cancel, you got to boycott it because I think Gargamel's cat was named Azrael, and they're like, that's a demon
my
name,
gosh,
and he
yeah,
does spells, and so it's evil, and
yeah.
just you're inviting it into your home, and
Well, the same thing.
um,
Like I wasn't allowed to watch Rugrats. I wasn't allowed to watch. For a long time, I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob.
yeah,
Like I mean, so like there were definitely. I
yeah,
mean,
I
my
couldn't
parents
watch The
weren't.
Simpsons because my dad
Well,
didn't like Bart Simpson's
that's a little.
attitude. Well, he just didn't like Bart Simpson's attitude, the way he
Oh,
talked to his
really?
parents, and so he thought if I watched that I would be even
I mean,
I
there
would
was like
back
a
talk even more than I already did.
The Simpsons. Yeah, we weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons. Family Guy was obviously a harsh, or
Yeah.
a hard cutoff. You know what I mean? But it was like, but
Well,
again,
this
man,
I'll tell you how my household was like. So Beavis and Butthead when I was in like middle school and high school was huge,
yeah,
and I couldn't watch that. But if I caught my dad in the right situation late at night, he would sit down and
we
like he'd be
watched it
like, "Hey, let's
together.
watch the Beavis and
Yeah,
Butthead."
yeah,
I'm
you
like,
watched it
"Let's
together.
do it."
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so
No, no, exactly. And my dad was that way too, some,
yeah,
but I don't know, man. I feel like again, I mean, not that people are coming to you and I for advice, but um, on this podcast at least,
right.
it I mean, if you if you feel like it invites whatever, then
Then
don't
stay away.
engage in it. It's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, but
yeah,
also like I mean, it's one more thing though that people can be divisive over, and
yeah,
I think that's unnecessary.
right.
So if you have a friend or family member that celebrates it, but they're like fine, then
Yeah,
let it be what it is.
yeah. I mean, that's where I think my take on it is if someone from my church came and asked me like my opinion on it, I mean, I think I would take the exact same approach. Is like, I think a lot of it has to do with your motives and what
Yeah.
you're doing and how far you're taking it. But if you're just celebrating it, having, your kids dress up or you dressing up, going to a Halloween party, handing out candy, getting candy, having fun with it, being spooky or whatever. I mean, I don't, I think if you're taking it for at that level just as something fun to do,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. Like I like scary things. I mean, like I think like haunted houses and stuff like that are a blast. Um, and I like a good horror movie, but I don't like it when it moves too far into the more demonic kind of realm. Like
Well, that's the thing for me.
I don't like the movies that like get super super dark with demonic stuff and possession and
Well, yeah, like
and
so
and
like The
things like that.
Exorcist.
That gives me when I don't feel it's in my spirit, like that feels gross. I don't like it. It's questionable. I'm just like I'm just going to steer clear of that.
Yeah, and I think that's wise, and that's a good way to put it because there are like, let's see, when I was growing up, you had like well, like again, like The Exorcist, is one that and it was like my dad, performed some exorcisms, and so like that, like the idea behind like it, like really, it's
Yeah,
like the idea behind it is too like that's too that's a
right.
little too real. Like
Yeah,
that hits a little too close to home. But then there's movies like I don't know, like The Village, and it's more suspense and like I mean it was considered kind of a horror movie when it first came
that's
out, but
it's so funny that you say The Village because I went to go see that movie expecting it to be a horror movie based off the previews, and I didn't read anything else about it. And I'll never forget because I had a tattoo session. I got tattooed, and then me and Jeremiah, the guy that did my tattoo, we went, and a couple other guys, we went and saw the movie. And dude, I was so disappointed. I hated that movie
yeah,
because I was like, that wasn't scary at all.
no,
And then a year or two later, someone else was like, "Hey, let's watch The Village." I'm like, "It sucks, but all right." And then I watched it again, knowing that it wasn't a horror movie, or at least a horror movie I was expecting.
right,
And I'm
right,
like,
right.
"Dude, that was one of the most incredible movies I've ever seen."
Yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, that was for free. That was a
No,
side note.
man, but it just I don't know. It just depends on. I think it depends on the content of the movie and
Yeah.
yeah, whether
Well, I mean, even like something like, and a lot of those movies, they will shift and dabble a little bit into an evil, a dark, I hate saying satanic because I think that's just so overplayed, that terminology, because
Yeah.
everything, is
Right.
satanic or whatever. But just the more the demonic, the demon side of things, like even like it, the movie It, the remake of it.
Right.
Like I thought that was pretty well done. I
Yeah.
thought it was good, but the ending of it and taking the kids' souls and like things like that is just like, ugh.
Right.
But like for me, I've got a good gauge on um when things don't feel right for me, then I'm just like, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
I don't need that. And and I don't I've kind of developed what I feel like is appropriate. And I hate to say like what works for me, what's good for me, what's right for me, and what's
Yeah.
wrong for me. But I think we have to be in tune to the spirit. And if you're doing something, anything, whether it be watching a horror movie or whatever, and it just doesn't feel right, and you're a believer, it's probably a good chance that that's the Holy Spirit like telling
Right.
you like, yo, let's not go there.
Yeah. I agree.
Um,
I got a
but
good.
that can be manipulated though too, because like, again, growing up the way I did in the church and the movement that I grew up in,
Yeah.
I felt that with everything, but that was
Yeah.
just because of what was constantly casted on me. But that's where you have to spend that time
Yeah.
and that work
Yeah.
with Jesus yourself.
I have a good friend who he enjoys scary movies from the perspective of the fact that like a lot of them are redemptive in nature. So like
Okay.
you have, sort of like the horror, the fall, the whatever, and then there's some sort of redeeming aspect towards the end of a lot of them, not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah.
And he appreciates those. And so yeah, I mean, I think that there's like I don't know. There's room for
Yeah.
it just as entertainment, and if you feel like it's again, I love that. If there's a wrestle in your spirit, then turn it off.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. And, err on the side of caution too.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other thing is too, is I think, I think there's a lot of things that aren't necessarily wrong. I would say they're not necessarily sin or inviting things in, but too much of something and you start feeling it in your it starts changing maybe who you are or whatever it is, or your thoughts become a
Yep.
little darker and creepy. It's like, yo, maybe you need to back off.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I mean, I'll say it, like, some people can judge or say what you want, but I loved Dexter, the show Dexter. I thought it was just the psychology behind it and his
Yeah.
character was
Yeah.
fascinating to me.
That's the one where
um
he's a serial killer that kills serial killers.
Yeah, yeah. So he works
Essentially.
for like the Miami Metro. He's a blood spatter expert, and basically anyone that he knows was guilty, but they couldn't prove it in court, and they get to go free, then he would just go and kill them.
Got it.
But it's a result of his trauma from his upbringing, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I remember that one.
but
Yeah.
like, great show, but very graphic. Lots of just brutal graphic scenes
Right.
in it. And at the time, I didn't have, Showtime or anything like that. So this was back in the day before all the streaming platforms. So I would get the seasons on DVD released.
That's
When they
right.
released, I would buy them
Yeah.
and I would binge watch them.
Hmm.
And like after watching, like, staying up till 3 in the morning, from like 9 p.m. till 3 in the morning, watching, a show of some dude just out here killing people. Like, I'm like, bro, I need to take a break. Like, this is too much. Like, so, and I think that's where you just, you stay in tune to,
Yeah.
how you're feeling and how it's affecting you. And, and we have to be led
That's
by
right.
the spirit, not anything else. And I think that revolves with anything, bad or
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So,
It's good. No, I agree.
so main takeaway here, we'll move on, get into some reactions. But hey, if you like to celebrate Halloween, from Spencer and Andy, have a great time. Go do it. Go trick or treat. Go have a blast. Decorate. Do that. If it doesn't feel right to you and you think it's not good for your family, we love you. We support you in that. It's all good. You do what's best for you.
Yep.
No judgment or shame here.
That's right.
So,
It's a good
all
way.
right. So we're gonna wrap this thing up for the next, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe,
Yeah.
and we're gonna bring you the Halloween special of the Unmasked reactions, plural, of the week. We.
Mer, mer, mer.
There it is. There it is. We're into it. So we've got, I think, 5 videos.
Yeah.
that we're going to watch. I've sent Spencer 2. He sent me 3, and we're going to
A
blind
couple of
react to
mine.
those things.
Yeah, I'll preface a couple of mine
Yeah,
before you play them and watch them live because
yeah, for sure. They
one
need
of
some
them
context
one of
because of
them
the
is just
videos.
oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Go ahead and pull up the first one that I sent you
but so
of the
Spencer sent
kid.
me 3 that are just regular reaction videos. The 2 that I sent are Halloween themed.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so should we save the one Halloween one for the last?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that one at the end.
So we'll do one of yours, one of mine, then 2 of yours, and
That's
then
fine.
we'll conclude with that last one.
That sounds
Sound
good.
fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
So which one?
just do the first one of the little kid. It's real short.
Oh, okay, yeah,
This little
yeah.
kid, they're in church and yeah, they're probably like sharing testimonies or something like that. And this little kid comes up and he has something that he wants to say. And so they hand him a mic. I don't know. How old do you think he is? 5?
I'm looking at it right now.
He's
I
got to be
mean,
5, maybe.
yeah, he's
And that,
probably 7, maybe.
you think he's that old?
Yeah, I think so. 6 or 7, maybe
All right.
6.
All right.
I'm thinking like kindergarten or first grade,
All right.
right?
So he comes up to the mic. Yeah, go ahead. And
So
then
he's in the front of the church, comes up to the mic.
cue video.
Hang on. All right.
I'm tired of this church. Hang on.
Do it again. Do it again.
I'm tired of this church.
That's all it is.
But he just walks up to the mic, looks defeated as all get out, and just says, "I'm tired of this church," and then takes the mic and just hands it over to the person beside him. Doesn't even look at him.
It just walks off. Dude. Hey, wait, where'd you go?
Tired of this church.
There we go. There we go.
So good, man.
I love it.
So I'll admit I've seen that one before,
Oh,
and
have you?
it's so good every time though. Because like, I mean, tell me, like you've never been feeling that way before
Dude,
about a church,
absolutely.
like that you would love to have just walked up to the mic and just been like, "I'm tired of this
I'm
church."
tired of this place.
Just walk away.
Absolutely.
Oh, so good, man.
What a rock star. Dude. That kid's going places in life.
Going places.
Going places. All right.
Good stuff. All right, you gonna check out the one I sent?
Yeah.
Halloween version.
Make sure I don't do the right one. I mean, I
So
do.
this one, while he's looking it up, I'll set it up.
Is it the one with the mom and the baby?
Yeah,
That's the one you want
yeah.
me to do? All right.
So there's this mom and her daughter standing in front of a very nice house. They look very vanilla and basic, but they're dressed up. She's dressed up like Dorothy, it looks like. And is the daughter dressed up like Dorothy also?
Yeah.
So they're both dressed up
From the Wizard
like
of Oz.
Halloween costumes. Yeah, Wizard of Oz. Her hair's braided, and she's holding her baby. She's probably like 1 year old, maybe. So,
All right, here we go.
and then someone stitches into it. So someone else will come. So someone's reacting to their video.
All right, hang on, man. I messed it up. Here we go.
We don't celebrate Halloween, but we like to dress up and have a little fun.
That's Halloween. There's literally nothing else to the holiday. What you've just described is Halloween.
It's Halloween. So she says, as Christians, we don't celebrate Halloween. We just like to dress up and have a little fun. And this dude cuts in, like he's got like the old AirPods holding the mic right here, and he's like, that's exactly what it is. That's Halloween.
And here's the deal, bro. Here's my reaction. Here's the deal. This is what we were just talking about. This is like sort of my frustration with some Christian circles is like, oh, we're not going to celebrate that. We'll do it. You know what I mean? We'll participate, but we're going to call it something else.
Harvest party.
And it's
they're like, we don't celebrate Halloween, but we dress up and we like to have fun. Well,
we're gonna eat all the candy in the world, and we're gonna.
I mean, that's
whatever.
What more is there to it?
Or trunk or treat. You know what I mean? Just
trunk or treat.
I don't want you to go to houses dressed up and go to different people's houses and get candy, but come to the church.
Right.
Set up all of our cars that represent all these different people's houses, and you good?
Yeah, no, someone just someone walked by. One of our guys from board members from the church came in. I was freaked out. Normally, no one's through here,
Dude,
so I'm like,
spooky,
bro. I thought it was,
dude, man.
thought it was a ghost.
What?
It's a ghost, bro.
Dude, what if a ghost showed up on our Halloween episode?
Nah, I wouldn't be good with that.
No, all right.
I told you I like haunted houses, but I like to know when it's people. I don't like spooky stuff.
But yeah, anyways,
we'd have to stop and have a prayer break.
But yeah, anyways, dude, that's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's the it is.
It's the hypocritical piece that we see in churches a lot. Like, I mean, that is the perfect example of it. It's like, we don't celebrate Halloween,
right?
But we like to dress up and have a little fun. Like, that's freaking Halloween.
That's all.
We don't support Halloween or celebrate Halloween and trick or treating because it's dangerous and it's evil. But we're going to decorate the trunks of our car and we're going to let you walk through and we're going to give you candy when you come through. Like, it's the same thing.
The same thing.
What are we doing?
Dude, that's amazing. I love that. All right, dude. Do the we're back with
Youth Group Chronicles one.
Yeah.
All right, back to the good old Youth Group Chronicles. Oh, I just got rid of
this one. This one is, maybe I should have had you listen to this one too. This one's a little wild. Yeah, have fun.
All right, I'm here for it.
Not Halloween themed, by the way.
All right.
Two sixth grade girls from our youth group asked me if they could use our church's video camera to film a class project. I said yes. However, we were out of videotapes. Now, one of the students who lived close by said that her parents had extra videotapes. When she returned, she handed me the tape. But I saw it was labeled Christmas morning.
No.
I was suddenly very worried that she had brought me a family home video.
No.
Yeah,
so to make sure
it was
Santa came down that chimney.
Absolutely.
Santa baby.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah.
With you.
All right, finish. You might see a mistletoe.
Hey yo.
Oh, hey yo.
What does that even mean?
So to make sure we didn't record over something important, I put it in the camera to preview it
of course
with the girls. For a moment, it was typical Christmas morning scene with kids opening presents, but then it cut to something truly shocking.
Christmas night.
No, Christmas morning, brother. Early Christmas morning.
Christmas dinner.
A different present.
Christmas dinner.
Oh my God. No.
The girls' parents had made a sex tape.
Yeah, they did. Come on now.
Yeah, they did.
These girls were absolutely horrified. I then had to explain to the parents how their sex tape ended up at our youth group. It was the most awkward conversation I've ever had with a parent. One day,
oh my gosh, bro, I don't even know. Like, I'd be like, look, either you all have to leave the church or I have to leave the church.
That's right, dude.
Period.
That's right. That's
period.
Right.
Like, we can't be face to face anymore. Oh my gosh. So many thoughts, so many things to say. Probably shouldn't say it.
I'll laugh for like 30 minutes.
Oh, well, I mean, as soon as they started, like, you know where it's going. And the funny thing about this video, though, too, is that everyone is cracking up even before they get to it. Like, even like the people that are like doing the cameras and the production people that are a part of the show, because you can hear them all laughing in the background, just dying. Like, there's no way, bro.
I love that, dude. Either you guys got to leave the church or I'm leaving the church.
Yeah. There's no other options. Not a single one. Like, this is too, like, can you imagine having that conversation with parents?
Golly,
like, hey, we need to set up a meeting. We need to talk about something. The girls borrowed the video camera for a project. We didn't have any tape, so they got a tape from home. And then they sent it back with us. And we didn't want to record over it, but this is what we found. Like, I can't imagine having that conversation, but I also can't imagine being on the other end of that. Like,
this is,
I mean, I don't want to dabble into people's personal lives or whatever, man, but don't record things. Don't record things. They'll be out there somewhere.
Bro, here's the deal, though. Yeah, I mean, especially like nowadays with cell phones and stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, I think, you know, within the privacy of, you know, your your Christian marriage, like have fun, do what you want to do,
Yeah,
but like
bro. No doubt.
but like hide that, like or burn it. I don't know. Like
Or burn it.
I don't
How
know.
do
Like
your kids how did your
put
kids
that
access that tape? If you're
put
going to
that
make a tape,
dude, put you
a
gotta
video
oh my gosh, man.
on a hard drive, it needs to be hid, locked up
That's what I'm
somewhere
saying. There's
that no one will ever get to it.
do you, but like, yeah, lock that, but dude, bury it in
Be
the
smart.
backyard. Yeah, I
Be
figure,
smart.
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Dude,
bro.
that's unbelievable.
That's
Either you
unbelievable.
gotta leave the church or I gotta leave the church.
That's the only two options after that. The only two options.
Oh man.
All right. We'll
So
do
okay. So the next one, you want to do the next one, then we'll hit yours last.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So this is less of like a reel that you need to play. I just want you personally to just watch it and read just the first part and read it out loud. And I want to get your thoughts. This is more of a conversation starter than like a
Okay. Okay. So I don't need to play it like for over the microphone.
No, you don't need to play it. You can just read
Because
it.
it's just music. The cover. What am I supposed to be reading?
Where it says,
oh, okay, down here in the bottom. I was just looking at like it's just okay. Our opening night is November 11th. Grab your tickets before they run out. So what?
Okay, so
the Cove.
Here we go.
November 11th.
Get
your tickets in the bio.
It's a
Christian nightclub. I missed that first part.
Nightclub.
Okay.
Christian nightclub. Thoughts?
I'm here for it.
Dude, really?
I mean,
really?
Why not?
Dude, you're just how are you? Because, bro, you're like here's the deal. Again, this is back to the whole Halloween.
Hold up.
You're in. Go ahead.
Let me say.
You react and then I'll react.
Let me say. Okay.
Christian,
I don't know where you're going to go with it. I'm here for it. It doesn't matter. Like I think it's great.
Okay.
Depending on how it's done.
Okay.
Okay. And when I say depending on how it's done, that doesn't necessarily mean like whether it's spiritual or whether it's this or that or what kind of music they play or whatever. Like I'm more like, don't make it super cheesy.
So
like, don't make it lame. Like if you want to have a Christian, for one, I'm not big on labels like that stuff anyways. Like, so I don't know what they mean by Christian nightclub. Is it just going to be all Christian rap artists that are like performing there, or all the DJ is spinning like Christian rap artists and, and it's going to be all non-alcoholic beverages at the bar. And, when you dance, you have to leave room for the Holy Spirit as you dance. Like, I don't know what it's all going to be about.
And that's my problem.
But if it's an environment that they're going to say, we want you guys to have fun, where even if they do play all Christian hip hop artists, there's some phenomenal ones out there.
For sure. I don't have a problem with that. For sure.
And if they want to do that, but they're also going to serve drinks, but they're going to have it like to where we're going to conduct ourselves in a way that is respectful and responsible. And we have a zero tolerance for, out of control, intoxicated guests. We're not allowing this. We're not allowing that. And it's like, this is to have a good time and it's operated by Christians and this is who we are. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't necessarily see there's a need for it, but I'm here for it if someone wants to do that. And that's like their dream and their passion.
So my struggle with it is, and it's not that I have necessarily a problem with there being something labeled a Christian nightclub. I don't necessarily, and I agree with you, depending on how it's done could change my opinion. But for me, this is the whole, hey, we're Christians and we don't celebrate Halloween, but we celebrate still Halloween. Dress up and enjoy ourselves argument, where it's like, what do people do in nightclubs?
They dance.
How do you have a
good time? They drink.
How do you do a Christian version of that without inviting the potential for some chaos.
So,
it
but
just is a
well,
nightclub.
I mean, there's a potential
No.
for chaos anywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
In anything that you do.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so say it's gonna be a nightclub. There's no alcohol, but we'll have a bar with mixed like virgin drinks, but there's no alcohol or whatever, so that you can come have that experience and vibe or whatever. But there are plenty of people that go to the club that love to dance, they love music, they love meeting new people, and they don't drink. Or they responsibly have 1 or 2 drinks over a 3-hour period and are in full control of themselves, have all their capacities, and they have a great time and they go home.
Yeah.
Right?
I think for me, it's I'm not worried about necessarily. I mean, obviously there's some like really bad things that can take place in a nightclub.
Sure.
You know what I mean, but as far as like, people getting drugged and stuff, but I'm not worried about like the basic fun that goes drinking, dancing, like even from a Christian perspective, like I don't have a problem with any of that stuff. For me, it's the whole labeling it something that it already is, like labeling it something different from just a sort of.
Just calling it. I think I'm gonna just saying it's a nightclub.
I think I'm gonna lose this argument because I don't really know how to verbalize what I'm thinking inside.
Yeah.
But it's more of like, I don't know, dude.
I think I get what you're saying. So
for me,
I liken it to somebody that owns a company, say a plumbing company, and it's like the Christian Brothers Plumbing Company, and they label it a Christian company. Well, you're no different than a plumbing company down the road, but other than you just put your name, you just put that it's a Christian plumbing company on it. Like, so what does that even mean?
Yeah.
That we're supposed to trust you more, that you're not going to rip us off, and that you're going to do great work, and that your prices are going to be reasonable because you're Christian. Well, that's probably not always the case.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if that's where you're going with it. Like,
well, I think for me, I'm actually glad that you brought up the Halloween one, because I think for me, I'm actually thinking more along the mindset of that first reaction that we had with the girl who said, we don't celebrate Halloween as Christians, but we do.
Right. So like, hey, we don't support going to the club, but we love going into a room that has dark. No, the lights are off and there's lots of flashing laser lights and disco balls and LEDs everywhere with loud music pumping and having a drink or two.
Yeah. I think for me, that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on how it's done and what its purpose is.
Yeah.
And what they're doing with it. So like, I'm not big on labels. Like, I'm fine if someone wants to do it. Like I said, I'm here for it. If someone wants to start their own Christian, nightclub or whatever, depending on how you do it, go do you, whatever. I don't necessarily think I don't believe that it's necessary, because
I wonder if they're actually promoting it, because it's called the Cove.
Right.
So, I mean, they are promoting.
I mean, I think of it like
nightclub in Nashville,
because it's all that's going to do. I mean, for one, I think it's a marketing ploy. I think it's trying to get out there. It's in Nashville, like, ooh, it's a Christian nightclub, but it's like, to me, it's like, I get so sick of that crap, because most of the things that people label Christian are worse than the things that quote unquote aren't Christian. Like I said, so your plumber out there that says they're a Christian company, but they're still out there doing whatever. Not all Christian companies, I'm not saying that, but it exists. Bands, like, there's so many bands, especially back in the 90s and the early 2000s, that called themselves Christian bands, and they weren't necessarily Christians. They just couldn't make it in the regular music industry. So they said, let me go Christian because it's easier to get into. They get into it. They say they're a Christian band. They're touring with all these other Christian bands, but they've got groupies out in their tour bus, and they're banging them and doing drugs and doing all kinds of stuff.
Explain what that means.
And it's banging.
Explain what that means.
Knowing them biblically. Knowing them biblically. Having sexual relationships with them in the tour bus.
Thank you. I get it now.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to clarify. But I mean, but that stuff happens. So it's like, don't call yourself a Christian band, just be a band.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's
I just
like,
looked it up. I just looked up a little bit more, and it says like one of their the taglines is having fun doesn't have to be linked with sin. You can have fun without sinning. It's one of their things.
yeah, I don't like
Well, we'll see.
I'm liking it less right now because it's just, I'm sure it's all cheesy marketing, lame stuff that I hate. But I don't have, again, I don't have issues with someone that wants to open. Like, one of my dreams when I was in college was to open up something very similar to Rocket Town here in Louisville. And for those that don't know, Rocket Town was a concert venue in Nashville. It was a concert venue. It had a concert venue. It had a coffee shop and an art gallery, and it had an indoor skate park. And it was owned by some Christians. I think maybe Michael W. Smith even had some ownership, and I don't know, but they had all kinds of Christian concerts, like metal concerts, rap, hip hop, other things. It was just a really nice venue. And then they had the skate park and the coffee shop and all that. And I'm like, man, I think that's really cool to create a safe space for kids, to go and have a good time, to where it's ran by people that have some morals, that are looking out for them, that are trying to help and aid in the community. Not that doesn't happen outside of people that are Christians, because there are a lot of places that serve the community.
Right.
But I think places and spaces like that are really cool if it's done right. And it's a great opportunity as a Christian to say, hey, I'm opening up something that is going to serve and provide for our community, a safe space, an educational space, a relaxation space, an entertainment space.
Yeah.
But then you can't run it recklessly, and you have to maintain your character and integrity.
Right.
But in my opinion, you also then can't say, well, only Christian bands can play here, because then you're shunning out people who aren't.
Yeah, we had one.
And then you're making it sound exclusive.
Right.
And so it's a tricky line to walk.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
I don't know if we even came to any type of consensus on that.
I don't know, bro.
Or even in our own opinions on that, because I'm like, I'm here for it, but I think it could be lame too. So it just depends on how it's done. So I'm not a club person anyway, so I'm not like, it's too much. I don't, I'd rather chill. I'm an extreme extrovert, but it gets to a point where it's too much.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's not my scene.
It's never really been my scene either. But that's okay.
I would draw the line if I saw an advertisement, for like the Christian strip club. That'd probably be that probably wouldn't work.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah. So. I wonder if, I don't know, man. Now I feel like I'll just accept defeat. I'll submit to your
I don't know that it's defeat though, man, because like I think it's fine that they want to do that. I don't know that it's going to work, and I don't know that it's even valid, but I mean, I'm here for it. If someone wants to start their own Christian nightclub and do it up, go do it.
We'll see. I guess we'll find out. We'll have to look back, because it's on November 11th.
Okay, let's go to Nashville.
You want to go? We should
go to opening night.
Let's go.
We'll live stream it to the Unmasked podcast.
Let's do it.
Well, we got to put it in our show notes, or in our notes for a future episode. We've got to find a video to review about the opening weekend of the Christian club.
Let's do it.
Was it called the Grove?
Let's just ask the Cove.
The Cove. Was it called Eden?
No.
Sodom and Gomorrah?
If yeah, it's more like it. If we can't go, let's just call Daniel and have him go.
Oh, Daniel Monroe, you are going to the Cove.
You're going.
We're gonna bring him in live as a guest from the Cove. There it is. That's so good. Anyways, our last video, Halloween video. Yeah, this is a good one. It's a little wild again. It has vibes of the other one, but this one's more. This is completely satire, but yeah. So, and we'll talk about this one because I have some things to say about this. And some questions to ask. We'll say that.
Hey, do you have any setup for this or no?
No, I mean, there's a woman. She's talking, like taking a selfie. And it's kind of like an advertisement for her church's Hell House, which is we'll talk about after this.
House.
Well, I think they end up calling it a hell, but a haunted house that their church is doing.
Me and Mark were putting together the haunted house this year for the kids. The theme is hell, like it always is. This year we found this abandoned barn, which is going to be perfect. We've separated it into rooms, and each room has a different theme. Okay. For example, in one room, you walk in and you see what happens if you have sex before you're married. Okay. You go to hell. In another room, you see what happens when you peel a banana and eat it seductively while making eye contact with my husband. You go to hell. And another one of the rooms, which is my special project, you see what happens when you pet a dog and you pet him too good and his dingling comes out. You go to hell. Now, that is your fault. And a lot of people are scared to admit that. A lot of parents won't tell their kids that. I got my 8-year-old La Brea and my 12-year-old ABCDE of Jalea, and they're not going to go to hell because their mama tells them we're not to pet a dog. So my girls aren't going to go to hell, but they are going to go to the haunted Hell House for United Methodist Church. And we hope y'all come out too. It opens this Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Y'all, I'm so excited.
It's too much. It's too much, man.
A haunted Hell House.
Okay.
Oh, dude, that's so good.
So many things could be said about that video. I mean, her kids aren't going to go to hell because she's going to teach them where not to pet a dog. So and that is your fault, apparently. Sheesh. Okay. So we'll just cut straight to. So have you ever been to a church haunted house, a hell house, a scare mare? I've heard them called all these different things.
So I went to Liberty University.
Okay.
And that was one of their big honestly, they probably called it an outreach.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was called Scare Mare.
Scare Mare. Okay.
You walk through a big haunted house. I mean, it was legit. Like,
yeah,
it's one of the ones that scared the crap out of me. So they did a really, really good job. And then you exit the haunted house right into a tent where they present the gospel.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what were the scenes in the haunted house at the Scare Mare?
So that theirs was pretty straightforward, probably what you'd see everywhere.
Just like at a haunted house?
Just a haunted house.
Okay.
So,
okay.
A dude sawing off some, I don't know.
So there was no themings, like
there were no theming. I've never been to one. I've never
and
again, remember,
this is the room what happens when you have sex before marriage. You go to hell.
You go to hell. No, I've never been to those. No.
Okay.
I have been to. They didn't call it a haunted house or anything like that, but I've been to like a walkthrough of. Well, I guess this was for Good Friday, but it was like a Good Friday walkthrough where you went through like the scenes leading up to the cross, and those were pretty. Some of that was pretty
intense.
But yeah, I've never been like during Halloween season. I've never been to one.
So when I was in high school, I did. There was one in Bullitt County, Kentucky. So Bullitt County from Louisville, depending on where you're at in Louisville, but from where I'm at, it's, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes. And so this church had one through their gym and outside. And dude, again, they did it up. Like it was like thinking back on it, I was like, man, they put a lot of time, effort, and money into this thing.
Wow.
But it was a whole storyline. Like it was, and there really wasn't very much like jumping out and scaring of you. It was kind of more of you're just walking through this story and these scenes. And it was all about like these group of kids that were supposed to go to church, but instead they skipped going to Sunday night service and went out partying and drinking and doing drugs and doing all these things. And one kid was a Christian that was supposed to go to church, but the other ones were supposed to go with her so that she could get them the gospel, but she decided to go along with what they wanted to do.
Gosh.
And then they were in an accident. Like when you walk outside, like there was a car, like literally, I don't know how they did it. Like, I guess they found a wrecked car, like wrapped around this tree out there.
Wow.
And, like the ambulance are there. And when you come into the scene, like the EMS runs, and then they're like all bloody, laying all over that and screaming like this and this and that. And then you go into the next scene and it's, that girl is kind of like the Christmas Ebenezer Scrooge and all that, where you're kind of seeing like you're with that girl walking through the scene, basically, like, and she's experiencing it, and like her friends die, and then she sees them in hell, and like you go down, it was like in the basement of the church, like I guess where the furnace room was, and they had everything open. It was like super hot in there. There was like the devil, and it was like this big hell scene. It was crazy.
Oh my
and then you come through that, and then she's at like, in heaven, and then she's begging for them to not be dead and not to be in hell. And, like God was kind of like, well, you should have, like blaming her, like you should have presented the gospel to them. You should have lived it out. You should have done this. And then you walk out, and then it was like the gospel presentation on, do you know Jesus? Do you want to end up in hell? Or if you are a Christian, what are you doing? Because these could be your friends if you're not sharing the gospel with them. And that could be you at the gates of heaven in front of Jesus, trying to answer for why you didn't share the gospel with your friends who are now in hell. Dude, it was wild.
Oh my God.
It was like shame, guilt, blame on steroids.
I think my biggest issue with all of that is the whole like fear-based. Well, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Last week. I think it was last week we talked about this, but that whole fear-based theology is wrong, incomplete. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could
well, I mean, I always think too, like, someone that grew up in it, like, you want motives matter. We talked about that in the beginning of the episode when it comes to how you're celebrating Halloween and all those type of things. So, so for me, like, the quick version, like my testimony is I said the prayer of salvation, the sinner's prayer, when I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Because I was terrified of the images and the conversations that people talked about hell. And I believed that there was a God because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was say this prayer and I wouldn't go to hell. And I'd be in heaven with my family forever. What 5-year-old's not going to say yes to that?
Right.
At what point is that just, I'm terrified of something, and then they tell me I can say this prayer and I'm good, so I just say the prayer and I'm good? That has nothing to do with your heart connecting with God's and saying, I believe that I have flaws, that I'm imperfect, and because I'm imperfect, this is what I deserve. And the only way that I can have true forgiveness is through Jesus and his sacrifice and his gift. So it's totally different. So like, what is your motive in salvation? What is your motive in sharing the gospel?
Yeah.
Is it guilt and worry because like you're going to be to blame for that? Or is it because you believe this so much that you want everyone that you know to have the opportunity to have this peace and this joy and this love and this forgiveness that you have? And those type of things, all I did was left like, I thought like I need to go call every single friend of mine and, give them the gospel because I don't, but it wasn't necessarily as much because, I mean, of course I didn't want them to be in hell, but it was more like, I don't want to carry that burden.
Right.
And so the motives were jacked up based off of weird fear and whatever. So
that's right.
But so
that's nuts.
I don't know that there's many, I've not heard of those very much anymore.
No, I haven't.
I don't know if that really exists. I would assume that would get canceled quick, or if there were those that we would see them more, like people blast them on social media.
I think the churches that have the resources to put them on have recognized over recent years that they're unnecessary and or
damaging.
Yeah. And then the churches that probably still do them are churches that do them, they're super cheesy and and we just don't hear about them because they're not a big deal.
I'm gonna have to look it up today now.
Yeah, I could be very wrong, and that sounded mean, but
that's true.
I don't know, man, dude. That's
so don't
wild.
So don't have sex before marriage. Don't eat a banana seductively and look at someone else's spouse. Be careful with how you pet the dog. Because it could be your fault. You'll go to hell. Oh my gosh, so good. So good.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Happy Halloween. I mean,
Same.
Reformation
Happy
Day.
Halloween, everybody.
Dude,
Go
Reformation Day. Happy Reformation Day. Get it right.
happy
We literally
Halloween.
just talked about this all episode.
Listen, you can represent the Reformation Day. I'll represent Halloween. I'm okay with
You
that.
know what? On behalf of my nephew, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Hey, go eat some chili. Enjoy time with family, and just have a blast.
That's right.
And hand out candy. Don't hand out tracks.
Oh, please, please, for the love of, if
you feel like you need to do it, put a king size candy bar with it.
thank you. Yes.
Don't just do tracks.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, man. I'm here for the people. I know someone out there listening was like, you know what? I'm gonna hand out tracks only.
Gosh, that was super necessary.
Yeah. I'm here for you guys. So,
Man.
all right, y'all. Make sure if you made it this far, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend. Follow us.
This far.
Follow us on all of our social media platforms. And we appreciate y'all, and get it out there. Don't be afraid to share it, and tell someone else to check it out. And they won't judge you if they hate it. They'll judge us. So it'll be fine.
That's true.
So it's a win-win. No lose there. So
all right, man.
All right, Spence.
Talk
Good
soon.
seeing you. We'll talk at you later on. Everybody have a good one. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.